Hey everybody, I'm going to talk to you for just a minute about fragments and run-ons. These are two of the big issues that really affect almost every college writer that you really want to start getting under control. A fragment or a run-on are both ways that your sentence can lose its effectiveness and no longer have any real meaning. So a fragment and a run-on deals with having not enough information or possibly too much in one sentence. Let's start with fragments. A fragment is an incomplete sentence. They will be missing either a subject or a verb, or they could be a dependent clause without an independent clause attached to it. I'll give you an example of what all those are in just a second, but to avoid fragments, pay close attention to periods and semicolons and make sure they enclose complete ideas. In other words, every sentence needs at least one subject and one verb. And if one part of your sentence is a dependent clause, you need to add an independent clause to it to make it complete. Here are some examples. The purple boots and the orange jacket by the door. Now, you guys can probably tell that by itself, that's not a complete idea. We're not really sure what's going on. We're not sure why we should care. And the reason is there's no verb. What are the boots and jackets doing? Are they sitting on the floor by the door? Are they on fire by the door? Whatever it is, there's something that needs to be happening in this sentence, and it's just not. Looking everywhere for the reason behind the flashing lights. Now in this one we have the opposite problem. We have some action, looking, but we don't have a subject. Who or what is looking? Once again, this is very important. Even if you include that information in a previous sentence, you need the subject to appear in the sentence where the action is taking place. Someone was looking everywhere. Something was looking everywhere. A dog, a person, Mr. Page, it doesn't matter as long as somebody or something is doing it. Because Samantha didn't wake up in time for her board meeting. Now here we do have a subject, Samantha, and we do have a verb, didn't wake up in time. But we started the sentence with the word because, and because is a dependent, conditional, or subordinating conjunction. All three of those things mean the same thing. It means that that word is setting up a dependent clause, a clause that depends on another thing to make it complete. For example, if I wrote some instructions and I said something like, because this is your rough draft, you see, you guys are waiting for me to finish that idea. And the reason is because the word sets up a condition of cause and effect. We know what the cause was. She didn't wake up in time for her board meeting, but we don't know the effect yet. We need to know what happened because she didn't wake up. Did she get fired? Did she not have time to do her hair? Did she have to take an Uber? I don't know, right? So you need to add that to make it make sense. Run-ons are sort of like the opposite problem. It's when you have too many subjects or verbs or too many independent clauses in one sentence. In this case, you need to be able to join them correctly using conjunctions like and, but, for, so, nor, yet, or periods or semicolons. Here's an example. I gave a student an F, my tires got slashed. Not actually a true story, but I had a teacher tell me this once. So what you have here is you really actually have two complete ideas. I gave a student an F, there's a subject I, there's a verb gave, and the second one, my tires got slashed. Tires is the subject, got slashed is the verb. So we actually have two independent clauses, but they're not actually connected properly. So you could just add a period. I gave a student an F, period, capital M, my tires got slashed. If you want to keep it lowercase and make sure the sentences are sort of connected even though they're still complete, you can use a semicolon. I gave a student an F, my tires got slashed. You can also add a conjunction. I gave a student an F, comma, so my tires got slashed. Now there are other ways you could fix this as well, but what you just need to remember is that whenever you have more than one complete idea in the same sentence, you have to connect it or separate it. Separate it with a period or a semicolon, or connect it with a comma and a coordinating conjunction, or in some cases you can add things like a subordinating conjunction. I gave a student an F, which is why my tires got slashed, something like that. Here's another example. That's one thing that I never learned in college, never make your uncle your manager. So here the issue's a little different. Here, just a period or a semicolon won't work because the second clause, the second half of this sentence that starts with never make your uncle your manager, is actually a fragment or an imperative, but an imperative is not a complete sentence by itself. So instead, try using a full colon. This can help you connect complete ideas to fragments without having to add anything. Here's how it works. That's one thing I never learned in college, colon, never make your uncle your manager. So now I'm allowed to use that fragment or that imperative clause and attach it to a complete sentence without having to add anything. However, if you'd like to make it a little longer in case you need to get to 5 or 6 pages, you can also add words to complete the second half of the sentence. That's one thing I never learned in college, semicolon, you should never make your uncle your manager. So this is just a brief overview or review of fragments and run-ons, and it'll help you with your quiz.